In the meantime, though, it is football at 4, and we are 23 days away from the NFL draft. Mm-hmm. I know there's March Madness going on. I know it's opening day at the Durham Bulls Park. I know the Canes are getting ready for a postseason run, and the draft is just 23 days away. So I started thinking about the number 33 pick and the number 39 pick. Panthers don't have a first-round pick, so that's kind of where they get started with those two. I'm going to make something very clear for Dan Morgan and very clear for Dave Canales. You're not going to make everyone happy. No matter what, no matter who you pick, unless like Marvin Harrison Jr. falls to 33, which even then I think there'd be people going, "What's wrong with him?" Yeah. You're not going to make everybody happy. So what you can do is kind of take a survey of the requests. There's going to be, and I'm not, when I say people happy, I mean like fans. You'd like to keep them happy, don't get me wrong, but I'm talking about the people in your building, the assistant GMs, the scouts, the director of pro personnel, the coaches. Like, there's going to be different opinions when you get down to that point in the draft. Some are going to believe you take best player available no matter what. Some are going to believe you take best player available at 6 specific positions, but not if the best player available is a running back or a middle linebacker or was a less important position. Some will believe that when you have a quarterback, you always take offensive line. Mm-hmm. Some will believe that you need an edge rusher to replace Brian Burns because you moved on from him and you need a young edge rusher. Some will believe that you take a wide receiver no matter what because you didn't have a number 1 last year.
Because your receivers stunk.
So there's going to be all of these different wants and needs. I don't think it's a bad idea to look for killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Mm-hmm. Where, I actually just read, I don't know if it's true because, a couple days ago was April Fool's, and I don't know if maybe some tweets are still bubbling around there. I saw that the Bears, and I hate to bring up the Bears when we're talking Panthers because, swindles, but with the 9th pick, which is their own pick, they're doing like a high school debate exercise. Okay. Where they're going to get, all of their football minds in a room and divide up into teams and say like, okay, you argue for offensive tackle this guy. This team, you argue for wide receiver Roma Dunze. You argue for tight end Brock Bowers. You argue for, and then they're going to have like a group discussion where they make presentations and bring facts about all the different ones as like an exercise to see, who can sway the room. Now, the reason why I say I don't know if that's true, because you might just learn which of your assistant GMs are better debaters rather than better talent evaluators. Yeah. Like, if you just tell them who they're going for, it's like, do you actually believe this, or are you just good at crafting an argument? Did we just draft a guy because, so-and-so was on the high school debate team, or did we draft him because he was actually the right player? So I don't know if it's true, but I do like the idea of that, where you look at all options and then think, how can we check off the most boxes? And I think the way you do that in this draft is wide receiver, because the way the position lines up, and we've talked about this. Hello to the loud engine driving by Durham Bulls Athletic Park. Yep, goodbye.
They want a wide receiver.
They want a wide receiver.
They want speed and power.
They want that's it. They want Xavier Leggett.
See, there it is.
It's the wide receiver position is so deep. I've heard, and I've said this before, people I trust have told me there's a break in the tier after 10 wide receivers, 12 wide receivers, sometimes more. If there's 10 or 12 legitimate stud wide receivers in a draft, you're going to have your choice at 33 and 39. There's not going to be, over a third of the picks in the first rounds are wide receivers. It's just not going to happen. There's not that many needs, and then you'd be passing on like the best edge rusher to take the 6th best wide receiver. So that crosses off. That checks off the box for the people in the room that think you need a wide receiver because you saw last year how bad it is when you don't have one. Mm-hmm. And it checks off best player available group, which I think is going to be a large subsection of the group. And that leaves you with, I have some names here that are expected to potentially be around there. Troy Franklin, Ladd McConkey, Xavier Leggett, Keon Coleman, Roman Wilson, maybe even somebody like Xavier Worthy, who's a wild speedster, which I think fits with Bryce Young's skill set. That solves a problem in a couple different ways, right? And most importantly, that leaves you to solve other problems at 39. If you take one of those guys at 33, then with the 39th overall pick, you can satisfy some other group in the building that wants some other player. And now you start looking around going like, you've done it.
Yeah.
You know, it's my son turned 3 over the weekend. On Saturday, we had a ton of kids at our house. We have a tree swing. There's a line there, but it's nice to see the line dwindle, right? It's like, all right, you've been on, you had your turn, you guys go play somewhere else.
Yeah.
You 4 stay here, right? You get to look at the people and say, you wanted a wide receiver, we took Troy Franklin, get out of here. You wanted best player available, we took Troy Franklin, get out of here.
Yeah.
All right, who's up next? 39th pick, what do you need?
O-line.
Okay, perfect. Get on up here. Who do we like at 39? Like you can, and even better if it's like offensive lineman and a premium position. Right? Because then you get to take those 2 groups. All right, get out of here. You had your time on the swing. Next up, right? It's you get to keep cranking them away. And that's what the Panthers have to do because they have to make up ground on other rosters in the NFL, right? It's you're behind. If you're the Chiefs, you have the 32nd pick right before the Panthers. You can solve one problem with 1 pick. Because you're out way ahead of everybody.
You don't have a lot of holes.
You're just cranking away. So for the Panthers to make up ground on the Chiefs, you have to solve 2 problems with 1 pick. And then 2 problems again with 39. And then 2 problems again in the 3rd round. Or at least as often as you can.
And one thing that actually being 33 and 39 allows them to have, because there's such depth at wide receiver, you know you're going to need one, you're likely going to draft one, is that if you feel like the player that's available at 33 won't be available at 39, it might be, let's say, an offensive lineman or an edge rusher, you can take him there knowing that we still can get a guy that we really like at 39 as a receiver. So you have that flexibility in those 2 spots. But I still wish they had a first-round pick.
And with that same logic, you can say, all right, there's 5 wide receivers we like here.
Yeah.
If anybody in the next 10 picks wants to trade up to 33, we'll trade back to 40. We'll trade back to 42 in order to pick up additional draft capital. And we're pretty confident that one of those guys that we like will still be there.